Hey guys, Teach FM here and welcome to my brand new YouTube channel dedicated solely to Football Manager. Now I know we can see the screen here of everything that's going on, but just before we get stuck into anything else, I just wanted to have a quick sort of I don't know, just let you guys know a little bit more about me. Lifelong Football Manager fan, so much so that when I started playing the game, it used to be known as Championship Manager, so that'll give some of you guys an idea of towards my age. But yeah, love Football Manager, always played Football Manager. It's been a game that I've loved, hated, been infuriated with at times, but no matter what, keep coming back. Every time, keep coming back. And I just thought, you know, I've been watching a lot of the YouTubers, and one thing that's I find apparent in all their videos is just how immersed they get in their game, how they're able to live their management stories through YouTube, and I just wanted to be a part of it. So yeah, here's the channel. It's my first foray into YouTube. I'm very new to it. I will be picking it up along the way. My production quality will get a little bit better, but you know, for now it's certainly a start. So the Fergie Way, the game, the title of my new series is based on the fact that before anyone says it, I know it's United that have been done to death. However, United are my team. I support United, and I think the best way to kick off my channel is to be managing my own team, have the enthusiasm for my own team. And yeah, so that's that. I will be at a later date maybe doing more of a journeyman career, going from club to club, but for now, this is what's going to kick the channel off. So the Fergie Way, being a United fan, obviously the last few years have been pretty difficult to watch, and my idea for FM this year was to, well, roll back the years, roll back to when Fergie had the club, you know, roll back to the way Fergie played and the way he put his stamp on Manchester United. So my plan is to, for a start, use a 4-4-2 formation where possible. As we know, Football Manager and maybe world football in general, certainly European football, there has been a tendency for everybody to go 4-2-3-1 nowadays in variants of such formation, and having Ibra as well as the young talents of Martial, Rashford, I certainly wanted to use two strikers, so reverting back to the way Fergie played with 4-4-2, maybe at times a more of a diamond in the middle, both narrow and wide. That's what I wanted to do, while keeping Fergie's sort of legacy going, promoted from the youth, not really looking to bring in a tremendous amount of expensive players in truth, try and bring them up through the system where possible, and also, as I'm sure you can see by the new manager at Manchester United on the screen here, try and get the staff in at the club who were around in the Fergie era. So as we can see in a surprise move, Manchester United have hired Eric Cantona as their new manager. The 50-year-old is reportedly delighted to be given the opportunity to hone his management skills at Old Trafford, and the Man United supporters will certainly be hoping that he can take their team to new heights, despite the fact that he's never managed a team before. Pretty much sums Eric up. I'm sure we all remember the adverts on the internet when he was asking for the job and asking for the England job. So yeah, I thought, why not? We'll use him. He can be the sort of front man, and as I say, plan to surround him with players and staff. So obviously, Football Manager, it's a very, you're always going through pages and pages and screens and screens and screens. What I'll do now is I'll nip off, I'll sort out some staff, have a look at a few of my players, I'm not really sure I'm going to do any ins, but I certainly might be doing some outs. In fact, I can think of one out I'll definitely be doing. It will also set up my tactics, and then I'll see you guys in a second, and I'll go through what way I want to play it. Right guys, as I said, I would go away, sort out the pre-season, play with my tactics, work out what way I want to play the game, and we will start with, as I said as well, I will be introducing a lot of the old guard to my coaching staff, and we will start with my assistant manager, who is Roy Keane. Crazy man on the pitch, batshit crazy since he's left the pitch and took his place in management. I'll be honest, he wasn't my first choice. I did try to bring back Ryan Giggs, who wasn't interested in coming back to the club after leaving so soon, and I also tried Gary Neville, who said there wasn't a role available at the moment. I would like to bring Gary Neville in some capacity if possible in the future, and I'll keep my eye out for that. But for now, the best option available to me was Roy Keane. Not a bad move. His level of discipline's 20, and I like that. You know, if we're going to have people kicking off, giving any sort of shit, Roy will keep them in line, that's for sure. And obviously with a high determination, he fits the mould of the club and the direction we want to progress in. So yeah, I also added Paul Scholes, which was a bit of a given, really. Not the best coach, I'll be honest, but what I'm trying to bring in the coaching staff is some familiarity from the Fergie way, you know, to keep in tune with the way the series is going to go. Decent attacking coach, great determination, of course, as a player and now as a coach, and very good technically also. Next on board, we also have Phil Neville returning. Of course, when Mourinho came in, Phil was released, and the games registered that as well, so I've brought him straight back. He did sort of move on. He did move on, go to Valencia to help his brother Gary in the short term. And yeah, I mean, he's actually a fantastic coach. And another thing that you'll see with the preferred formations as well, with these players are all preferring a 4-4-2, which ties in perfectly, because as I said, from a tactics point of view, I want to return to the way Fergie managed Manchester United way back when. So yeah, there's Phil. Also, Teddy Sheringham, again, not the best coach, but was part of the old guard. Try and bring him in, try and sort of instill a little bit of confidence, you know, into the current squad. You know, show that these guys have been there, done it, and hopefully, you know, progress in that way. Again, 4-4-2, diamond narrow, which is one of my tactics. We'll move on to the tactics shortly, but there is a few more ins on the coaching staff. I brought in Phil Cannon, who's pretty much a given. Anyone who's been playing Football Manager for a while will know. I mean, I don't even need to say anything. Just look at those stats. You know, from that point, we'll move on. Also, some other ins. I did bring in a couple of medical staff. It's neither here nor there. But if we go to the end, the under 23s, and we'll just take a look at the staff and the coaching team. You'll see Warren Joyce is the manager. We've got Tommy Martin, Nick Cox, Mark Hulse, and Nicky Butt still ahead of youth development. Again, class of 92. And then in the under 18s coaching team, we have Rio Ferdinand as the manager. And I also brought in Nemanja Vidic. So again, these guys aren't fantastic coaches. Of course, they're still only very young. But I wanted to inject as many of these sort of past United legends, might be pushing it a bit too much, but certainly heroes, into the coaching team. And yeah, I think I've done that. Right then, on to tactics. So, as you can see, first tactics laid out there on paper. 4-4-2. Now, I realise that this could burn me here. It probably burn me quite hard if I'm not very, very careful. Football Manager of late, and I suppose real life football in general, has very much moved into the continental style, you know, 5 men in midfield, one striker up top. And one thing I alluded to earlier on in the episode was, with the glut of strikers that are available to me at Manchester United, I want to be able to play with two strikers. I want to be able to use Zlatan, and I want to be able to bring Martial, Rashford into the games as much as possible. And although it will be to a lesser extent, Wayne Rooney is also available. However, he's not really fitting in with my plans and the way I want to progress the club. So this is going to be my sort of basic standard run-of-the-mill formation. This is going to be, now these will be subject to change. I'm not a fan of plug-and-play tactics. I will be altering my tactics as I go, and the more games I play, I'll learn this. But wing-backs on support, I mean, ball-playing defenders where possible. I have got slightly more defensive 4-4-2, we'll get into in a minute, but ball-playing defenders sat in the middle. I want to be able to play the ball out from the back and have confidence in the defenders. Wing-backs on support, the reason I use support purposely is I find in a sort of 4 men at the back, if you're playing an attacking wing backs, you can often find that one will have the ball and it will drag the other one out of position, leaving a huge gap down one side. So I play on support. If I ever need to try and push during a game, I am likely to change to attack, but probably only on one of them, depending on who's having the better game. Onto the middle, I want to play with traditional wingers where possible. The squad may inhibit that at times, but where possible, traditional wingers. Deep line playmaker on a support role. Again, this is your Paul Pogba position. You can't spend 90 million quid on a player and not use him at the best of his ability. Box-to-box midfielder. There's a few players who can play there. The reason it's box-to-box is this is the most attacking of all my three formations. So I want someone who can do a job at the back, but also push up the field when needed, provide some support for the two strikers. And speaking of strikers, complete forward. Someone who can drop back a little bit, play a little bit of a defensive game, bridging this huge gap that I've got sat between the midfielders and the strikers. And then, of course, an advanced forward up at the top. If we go to the instructions, you'll see here, as I say, this is probably my most attacking of the formations. It may not look like it on the whole, but I assure you it is. Again, because I need to try and protect against these five-man midfields. So the tempo will be normal. I can change that during the game depending on how I feel the game's going. Only time wasting sometimes. It won't be that often. That's something that I'm going to be playing with as the games go on. Again, we want to be closing down as much as possible because we want to press at every opportunity. We want to be passing into space because we want to be trying to use the wide men where possible. More direct passing, hoping that having the two men up top is going to be able to open up more gaps. A lot of Premier League defences now are used to trying to tackle with just one man in the centre and maybe two wide wingers out there, but I'm hoping having two men in the middle is going to give me some sort of benefit towards the sort of attacking prowess of the game I want United to play. Look for the overlap, bringing in the full-backs where possible to try and get round and up, of course, up the top of the box and work the ball into the box. Now I'm hoping with the passing availability I have from my players being Pogba, Schweinsteiger, Herrera, and then of course dragging the likes of say Ibrahimovic from up top. We want to try and work the ball into that box to try and make clear chances rather than getting stuck on the edge of the area and slapping a ball from 20 yards. Next one, 4-1-2-1-2, just a narrow diamond formation. Now this is going to be for more a defensive game. Again, I want to try and keep two strikers up top where possible. One of the other reasons for this tactic is really it's Juan Mata. Currently in the 4-4-2 flat formation, there's nowhere for him to play. However, he is a massive asset to the squad, and you will see me changing formation during games to try and tie players in. Having the little halfback set on defend, which isn't a sort of set in stone position. I will be playing players where they're best at playing, but you're talking your Daley Blind can sit in there, Morgan Schneiderlin, and at times even Schweinsteiger if we want to be playing a little bit more defensive. A couple of complete forwards up top just so that they're coming down the pitch somewhat rather than just sort of goal hanging, and full-backs on support. Once again, you may find that I'll put one on attack at the time, but bearing in mind this is really to try and contain a game if I'm up against a bigger opponent, or of course if I'm just trying to protect a lead towards the end of the game. But yeah, once again, attack midfielder, mainly for Juan Mata. Of course, Wayne Rooney can play in there as well. We look at the instructions, we're going straight down the middle on this one. We're not looking for overlaps because we want the defence to stay at the back. We want to try and work the ball into the box where possible. More mixed passing because, again, we don't want to be playing a direct game and we definitely want to be more disciplined. So, yeah. And then, just cancel that. And then on to the last formation. Once again, it is just an ever so slight variant on my first 4-4-2 in which a little bit more defensive, no ball playing defender sat at the back there. We just want to have solid defence sat at the back. Wide men rather than wingers, so they're not going to be pushing up the field too high, and both strikers sat on complete forward so that they can pull back. One of the midfielders sat on defence. This is trying to tie the game off at the end, and if you want to protect that one goal lead, which I know a lot of people unfortunately don't, a lot of people are looking for plug and play, click a button, play 90 minutes, don't change a thing, win a game. I understand that there's formations out there on Football Manager that you can do that with, but I want to make it as realistic might not be the best way of putting it, but I want to try and close a game out and then hold them off whoever they may be, hold them off. If I'm 2-0 up in the 70th minute, I want it to remain that scoreline at the end and not end 2-2 or 2-1. These are the best ways to do it, in my opinion. Now, on to transfers. Look at that. Nothing. Not a thing. Not an in. Not an out. Well, with the exception of Sean Goss going out on loan. Nothing. Not a stitch. So, one thing I did want to do in particular on this save was give the squad a chance. Now, there's players in there I don't like, and I'll be honest, there's one I did try to get rid of, Marwan Fellaini, but I think it's probably easier to get rid of AIDS. He wouldn't go nowhere. No one was interested in buying him. So I'll hang on to him. He may find his options are limited. He might spend a lot of time in the under-23s, but that's that. So yeah, I've added nobody. I wanted to play a full season with no additions. That doesn't mean at the end of the year I'm going to go nuts and go and bring in 10 players. It won't happen. It'll be on incremental changes, a couple of players, that'll be at best, and some promoted youth. But yeah, so I know it might be a little bit disappointing to some. I know a lot of people like to walk straight onto the game, but when you consider on the game, you know, you just gained the likes of Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Paul Pogba, Mkhitaryan. The club went out and spent 120 odd million quid between Mkhitaryan and Pogba. To add more players to that, to spend my 32 million transfer budget adding more players, it wasn't something I was wanting to do. So yeah, unfortunately, nothing's changed there. So yeah, as I say, the pre-season went well. I mean, don't get too excited. I've not got too excited. At the end of the day, these are all, I've been playing Chinese teams normally. Going forward, for any games that I don't do a live com on, I will break down the game, clicking up. We'll see who's done what and how they've played and everything else. But bearing in mind these are all Chinese, low caliber teams, I've made sure I added a few friendlies, try and get the squad's morale up as much as possible. But yeah, I mean, we'll take a look through a few, see how people are doing. As you can see there, Rashford got himself a couple of goals, Mkhitaryan as well. Again, you know, Mkhitaryan, who I do think is going to be doing really well. Obviously, he'll play out on my right hand side. Martial picked one up, Wayne Rooney. Now there was a game in here. Martial, 5 goals. Once again, it was against Stockport Town. It was against literally no one. That's not Stockport County, but Stockport Town, small reputation team. But yeah. And another interesting one was on Rooney's testimonial. He got a hat-trick, quite fitting. As I say, he's probably not going to fit in my first team plans. He's going to be limited to the amount of games he's going to get with me this season. But yeah, a very, very fitting testimonial, I thought. So current squad state at the moment is, again, you know, it's unchanged. There's not many people in and out. One thing I will say is I have picked up injuries in the pre-season, and we will take a look for a timeout. So Morgan Schneiderlin's going to be missing for 4 to 5 weeks. Sometimes injuries are never a good thing, but they can be a blessing from a selection point of view. And one thing I have at United here is loads and loads and loads of central midfielders. So Schneiderlin will be missed to some degree. However, my headaches will be lifted somewhat. So he's out for 4 or 5 weeks. No biggie. Lingard 7 to 12 days. Ibrahimovic, who was actually out for 3 to 4 weeks, has got 7 to 12 days left, and Marcus Rashford is still out for another week. Pain in the arse there is, of course, I'm trying to play a 2-striker formation to lose 2 of them on the run-in. These guys aren't going to be ready for the live com for today's episode, which will be the Community Shield, and they are unlikely to be quite ready for the first game of the season, which will be in the next episode. But big squad, still have the likes of Wayne Rooney, still have Martial, so I will get by. Just a little bit of a shame to lose Ibrahimovic and Rashford, because probably 2 of the most exciting players I have on this new save. So a general overlook of the squad, I think United's squad is a lot stronger than many give it credit for. You know, I look at, say, for instance, the central defence. You know, Chris Smalling, Daley Blinken playing central defence. You've got Eric Bailly. You've also got Marcos Rojo, Phil Jones. I mean, that is a large selection of central defenders. I will be giving each and every player ample opportunity to try and cement places. I will be rotating the squad relatively heavily until I decide who sort of the strongest team is. Left back, again, Luke Shaw, as we know, Darmian can also play left back. We've got Luke Shaw. We also have Daley Blind. Daley Blind, cracking player, utility player, can sort of fit in and around in most positions on the pitch. He is wanted at the beginning of the game. I was asked in a press conference whether I'd be willing to let him go, and truth was no. He's so valuable to me. It's the John O'Shea. He'll pretty much play anywhere. If you had to, he would go in the goal, and it still wouldn't matter. He would be happy to play. So Blind, regardless, is a keeper because he just fits into so many positions. If I do have a slight concern, it's probably at right back. But again, I didn't want to add anyone in this sort of transfer window at the very beginning of the game. I want to just play with the squad. But if we're given an injury to someone like Darmian or Valencia, it could prove problematic. Central midfield, again, I spoke about it briefly a second ago, but Schweinsteiger, Schneiderlin, Pogba. We also, of course, have Ander Herrera, and we also have the likes of Michael Carrick, who is still in the game. Another thing I'll touch brief. I'll go and have a look at the under-23s in a second and show you a couple of players who I definitely want to try and utilise in the season, probably in the cup games and Europa League. On the wings, playing a 4-4-2. Again, quite tricky at United at the moment, and probably most clubs, it's because we don't have as many players in the game who play in these wide positions anymore. Than more sort of attacking players. But on the left we have the likes of Depay, who of course is right-footed. He's very much an inside forward, but he's getting retrained to play midfield left. Is competent at the moment, but of course I want him to try and get up there to be accomplished and a natural. Also, I've brought Ashley Young up from the under-23 squad. That's where he's at. Needless to say, that's where Schweinsteiger was as well. Mourinho is absolutely off his tits for not playing him in real life. I certainly want to ensure Bastion's part of my team. So much so that I have actually made him vice captain for the club, and as long as he's on the pitch, the likelihood is he'll be wearing the armband because Rooney won't be there that often. So Ashley Young's been brought up from the under-23 squad to fill in these gaps that I've got on the wings. And of course, for the right hand side, Lingard can actually play both, which is quite handy. But for the right hand side, we have Lingard, Valencia when he's not been used as a defender, as a right back. And also we have, of course, Mkhitaryan, the Armenian wizard. He will pretty much be my starter on the right hand side. Once again, as I touched on before, there's going to be a problem with Mata, and I can see that he's probably going to come to me whinging about game time, etc. But the reason for the narrow diamond formation is for Mata and Mata only. So there may be times when I'm playing with two strikers and I can introduce Mata and drop it into a sort of more of a 4-1-1, but it's going to be a bridge that we cross as we get into the game. So yeah, that's the squad. I'll briefly have a quick look at the under-23s. I do have some players getting tutored at the moment, and they'll be the ones who we will sort of certainly see. Now, Tunzabi will be, I've got reports on these players. They're fantastic players. Tunzabi's definitely going to be one that I'm going to be bringing into the fold where possible. He will be sitting in as a central defender. Young lad, looks bags and bags of potential. He'll definitely be getting some game time. Another one will be Rashawn Williams. He's very young, however, I'll be introducing him where possible. I don't think he's got the potential that Tunzabi has. I don't think he'll be as good a player as Tunzabi will, but I want to make sure that when I'm playing the sorts of the League Cup games, I want to be trying to introduce these players to first team football wherever possible. And the other big one is Fosu Mensah. Now, Fosu Mensah, by my scouts, has the potential to be better than Paul Pogba. Whether it comes to that, well, we're not going to know. I mean, we'll know when we get closer to it, but really, we're not going to know. But to be able to try and give him to be able to achieve that, I want to be able to use him as often as possible. So Mensah's probably going to be featuring in cup games, but also probably in league games as well where possible. Again, I have got a very crowded midfield. I have to work out who's going to be getting played, who's not going to be getting played, but Mensah will definitely be filling some gaps. Also, once again, Callum Gribbin, only a young lad, but if you look at the stats, as I say, 17 years old, he's already got a 17 and a 16 dribbling and free kick taking. His best position, unfortunately, is in Mata's position. However, when you consider we have Rooney and Mata who can play in there, Rooney's going to be used a lot as a striker, probably off the bench. Gribbin will get chances to come onto the field, that's for sure, and that's why I've highlighted him. So they're the ones for this year. I do have loan players out, Bothwick Jackson. I also have Adnan Januzaj, who I'm sort of wishing was still at the club. I wish they were here. I wish I could just get them introduced straight away, but they are out on loan. So they're players that we'll look at when they come back into the fold next year, but they will be getting used in the first team squad when they do. And yeah, so that's the squad. So next thing we'll go on and we'll play in the Community Shield. I'll pick a team and we'll take a look at the lineups. But as we line up, we've got De Gea between the sticks, we've got Shaw at left back, Bailly and Smalling playing ball-playing defenders in the middle, and Darmian at right back. We have Memphis Depay out on the left. Again, it's Lingard's out injured. Lingard would maybe start over here more so than Depay due to Depay having the right foot, but I'm yet to see. It may work out well. It may work out well. So I've got Pogba playing deep line playmaker and Ander Herrera playing box to box, and Mkhitaryan out on the wide right, Martial and Rooney up top. Again, I may switch these round, see how the game's going. Now for Leicester, of course, got Schmeichel in the sticks, Fuchs, Robert Huth, Wes Morgan and Hernandez. New player Mendy sat in the DM position. Got Schulp, Drinkwater, Armitai and Mahrez. Of course, player of the year Mahrez, and Jamie Vardy up top. Opposition instructions. I trust Roy. As I say, he's batshit crazy, but I trust him, so we'll see what he says. Shock, Roy wants us to hard tackle, which is no surprise whatsoever. We'll go into the team talk. So the fans have got us here. Now, being a new manager, it's very rarely that we're going to get positive reactions, and I'm not going to go with what Roy thinks I should say. I'm going to say I expect them to win it, and I did. Shock, horror, no one's got anything to say. One thing I will say from the midfielders is that I do want them to try and control the game, and we shall get the match started. I will be playing in 2D Classic, and let's just make this a little bit wider, just so that we can see the team ratings. We'll close that down for now because it's not really working. I do have the formation sat at the bottom down here purposely so I can see if they make any changes to their squad as Depay goes down the left wing and it's a lazy cross straight into Schmeichel's hands. So yeah, we shall see how we are going. So it's Darmian, he's picking up the ball and he's lost it to Vardy. He could punish and he's not done. Goes out for a Leicester corner. Fuchs will be whipping it in, and Vardy hits the post. However, Mahrez was offside, which might be a little bit of a let-off. As you can see straight away, Leicester have got the early attacks. Again, this could be the 4-4-2 is just not the most attacking formation. I've tried to make it as Herrera scores and undoes everything. I just say, well done, Ander, my son. So, free kick from Pogba, plays it down the left to Memphis, who I was questioning at the beginning of the game, but he's made my mind up there, and Herrera with pretty much a tap-in. Schmeichel got a touch to it, but no luck. It's 1-0 to the good for the Reds. As De Gea brings it out to Darmian. Darmian's into Pogba. Just playing it safely round the back here. Come on, push it up. And it's gone out to Mkhitaryan. Herrera's picked it up on the edge of the area into Martial. It's played Memphis in again. Rooney, and it's 2. Again, nothing to get too excited about. The silverware is going to be important, but getting the fresh legs is more important. Rooney, as I keep saying, really wouldn't be on the pitch right now if it wasn't for injuries. But yeah, good on him for scoring a goal and adding to this scoreline. It's going to be interesting against some of the bigger boys with their 4-2-3-1s, just to see whether the formation holds up or whether I'm going to be having to change things for the best of the team. However, as I say, the Fergie way, and that's not something I'm looking to do, as Martial makes it 3. A great ball by Pogba. Turn 1 defender on the inside. Fantastic play. Exactly what you want your £90 million world record signing to do. Hops a tackle into Martial on the half volley. Straight down the middle, but keeper stood no chance. That's it, half time, perfect. So some good ratings all round. So we'll just assertively say, and Cantona, I reckon, is quite an assertive man, so it'll be assertive a lot of the time. Very pleased with the performance, which I am. I do just want to have a quick word in Pogba's ear. Just, calm yourself down. You're going to get another yellow. We don't want that. So we're in the 60th minute as Fuchs was just hitting a free kick. And we will now look based on, so Pogba's definitely got to go. We'll bring Schweinsteiger on, who again's not got the sharpness, but this is all about trying to get people fresh, ready for the first game in the Premier League season. Rooney and Martial obviously are pretty good as gold here. Fortunately, they're not that unfit. They should be able to see out the rest of the game. Mata can. How's Depay playing? For 2 assists, Depay's on fire. Mata's going to be sitting this one out, I'm afraid, folks. So we shall bring in Daley Blind. We'll just give Luke Shaw a bit of a rest. And again, Mkhitaryan, we'll bring on Ashley Young. Again, Mkhitaryan's played alright, he's played solid, 7.3. And we will also bring in Phil Jones for Eric Bailly. He's only playing a 7 when you consider it against the rest of the teams, not playing that great. So, and we'll probably make another change or two before it's out, just to give a few players some minutes. But yeah, it's gone really well. I wasn't sure what to expect with the 4-4-2 as Mahrez now. Blind gets it clear. I wasn't sure what to expect with the 4-4-2 and how it was going to work. Memphis off the post. You know, for someone who's getting quite a hard time in real life now, I have a funny feeling he's going to do very, very well for me in this 4-4-2. Based on this game alone, 2 assists, he's just hit the post. The lad is on fire as Rooney goes offside. So yeah, it's gone well. Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as saying perfect. I'd love to see the possession. You know, Leicester are having us on possession here, but you know, 11 shots, 5 of them on target. We're showing that we're trying to get the ball into the box before we pull the trigger. As Rooney knocks it down to Martial. Rooney from distance, Wayne, don't be doing that. You know, you're not 23 anymore. This isn't the sternest of tests. This is very much an easy test, but you know, it shows the formation maybe halfway there. We'll see how it goes against the bigger teams. There's Silimani now into Mahrez. Silimani's getting into the area, and again they're being restricted. The defence are playing a cracking game here. Leicester haven't registered a single shot on target, so we're doing something right. They have just made a slight change. They've got a deeper midfielder, so what I will do is I will just make a bit of a change myself. Bring in Valencia, take Darmian off. Chris Smalling is coming on for no one because I don't have enough subs on the bench to do so, so you'll be staying Smalling. Now, and Herrera, I'll swap you out there for Carrick. However, Carrick, you will not be playing box to box. You'll play deep line. We will change Schweinsteiger away from a deep line playmaker and put him as a central midfielder. That's one thing I need to be very aware of, is trying to put players into a playing role that they can't play. Now, Carrick is not going to be running up and down the pitch. As for that matter, neither will Schweinsteiger. The legs are not there anymore, so they will be changed to suit as and where possible. Young plays it back to Carrick. Carrick plays it into Memphis. Martial. Memphis, 3 assists. I'm pretty sure it's 3 assists. Has played an absolute blinder, and although Memphis maybe wouldn't have started this game in ordinary circumstances, I'm going to find it quite hard not to pick him based on this performance alone. We'll see if he keeps it up. Great finish by Martial. Keeper was lost. Obviously, Memphis just played it across. Easy goal. 4-0. Going to run out of victors here. First bit of silverware for Cantona. Fantastic. 4-0. They do deserve their success. Congratulate the boys. You deserve it. But specifically, Memphis, I'm more than very happy. Passionately, calm. No. Assertively, I am very happy with your performance today, and I was. He was absolutely fantastic. 3 assists, playing out on the left as a right-footed player, and 2 of those assists as a minimum came with his left foot. Perfect. Yeah, United win Community Shield, which is absolutely fantastic. Cantona gets his first trophy. Mkhitaryan makes his debut, played a good game, and Depay, once again, you know, I mean, you were absolutely fantastic. Yeah, you will keep it up. You will keep it up, Memphis. I hope so anyway. I won't go into the press conference, but I will look at the schedule. So, first game of the season, and it's a televised ones, away to West Ham. I don't want to miss the first game of the Premier League season. I will do a live comment. That's what will be in episode 2, and I'll also do the West Brom one, so we can play 2 games together, and then we'll look at the end of the next episode. We'll see what games we're going to come back for. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the episode. I enjoyed recording it, as I say, first ever live comment, first ever recording, first ever time on YouTube. I've really enjoyed it, and I'm already looking forward to the next one. So I will catch you guys then. See you later.